Love 99.5 FM Facebook live stream and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Shine FM Akachi, Radio Max Takrady and Ridge Tamale. Get radio, TV and online content on the myjoyonline.com interactive app for Android and iOS devices. In the headlines, police barracks in Osu disconnected for power theft as the ECG continues its nationwide exercise to collect debts owed by customers.
Whilst on the ground, the team discovered that 3 of the blocks in the barrack had been illegally connected.
Plus, we'll tell you how it took the intervention of the national security to free some ECG staff locked up by staff of the Ghana Post.
Our staff were prevented from leaving the facility for some time and we had to intervene, trying to get national security to help and all.
Also, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris says the atrocities that were meted out to her ancestors during the slave trade era cannot be glossed over and forgotten.
All these stories must be told in a way that we take from this place the pain we all feel, the anguish that reeks from this place.
And in business, Daryl.
Fuel prices to fall between 2 and 9% for third consecutive time from the 1st of April. Details on the Joy Business Report.
Also, 8 persons who died after a boat capsized on the Oti River buried as investigations to unravel circumstances leading to their death begins. I am Amiesi Nyamiche Thompson. Let's settle now for the details. The Electricity Company of Ghana has disconnected power to those police barracks over illegal connection to 3 blocks on their premises. This was discovered by a team of ECG officials who visited the barracks Tuesday to collect more than 100,000 Ghana cedis owed the company. External Affairs Manager of the ECG, Leila Abubakar, narrates the situation to Joy News.
Whilst on the ground, the team discovered that 3 of the blocks in the barracks had been illegally connected, and so they had no option but to take them off the grid, which is what is supposed to be done. And so they've been taken off and served notice that this is what they found, and they have to now sit down with ECG to rectify that situation.
Do we know how long they have been connected illegally?
No, we wouldn't know. And so we would have to estimate a bill for them.
Elsewhere, it took the intervention of national security personnel to rescue some ECG staff who were locked up by staff of the Ghana Post for disconnecting their facility.
The Accra branch is owing 89,000 cedis. Our staff went there to have a discussion of whether they were ready to pay or otherwise. They weren't able to pay, and so as ordered by the managing director of ECG, they were to proceed with disconnection, which they did. And I think a few people within the Ghana Post organization were not happy about that. So our staff were prevented from leaving the facility for some time and we had to intervene, trying to get national security to help and all. But I am looking at the colleagues that they have been released.
And that was External Affairs Manager of the ECG, Leila Abubakar. Now, Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister Benito Owusu-Bio says his ministry is currently in talks with the Ministry of Finance to pay some 28 million cedis owed seedling supplies. The amount is a backlog of payment for seedlings the government bought for the 2021 and 2022 Green Ghana Seed Planting Project. Mr. Owusu-Bio also mentioned that 67% of all trees planted in 2022 have survived so far against a survival rate of 65% in 2021. There's more on the following report.
The Lands Ministry has come under heavy criticism in recent times as a section of Ghanaians debate the survival rate of millions of trees government planted in 2021 and 2022 under the Green Ghana project. This week, the Deputy Minister Benito Owusu-Bio is on a fact-finding mission on the over 60% survival rate of the trees captured in a yet-to-be-published report on the Green Ghana project. As part of the tour, the team visited the Accra Seismic Center, the University of Ghana, and the Achimota Forest, where some of the trees have been planted.
The findings show that for 2021, as at now, we have 65% and 67% of the planted seedlings surviving in on-reserve and off-reserve sites, respectively.
In response to the agitation of seedling suppliers over outstanding debt owed government, Mr. Owusu-Bio said, talks are ongoing to get them paid.
We are in discussion with the Ministry of Finance, and hopefully we know they will release funding for us to be able to settle that debt.
8 persons who died after a boat capsized on the Oti River have been buried as investigations to unravel circumstances leading to their deaths begin. Joy News is learning the boat was carrying the mourners from Kwawu, a village in the Karachi Njumuru district, to Sabaja in the Karachi West municipality. 7 people survived, with 1 admitted at the hospital. A week ago, 5 mourners at Ada died on the Volta Lake in a similar manner. Karachi Njumuru DC Nkrumah Kwesi says the deceased have been buried and investigations underway.
And we lost 8 lives, 5 women and 3 young boys. Fortunately, the bodies were retrieved. The incident was reported to the district police office and as well as the divisional police office. The divisional commander sent officers from the division to join the district police CID. They went to the site and the necessary protocols were done together with the health officers from the district, which allowed the bodies to be buried last night.
The U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris says the atrocities meted out to her ancestors during the slave trade era cannot be glossed over and forgotten. Speaking after going through the door of no return at the Cape Coast Castle, she indicated the scars of the slave trade period must push humanity to fight for the rights of each other and, more importantly, support one another. Richard Kojonyako travelled with her to Cape Coast and has filed the following report.
And there is an unmistakable tie and bond, and all relationships that are good relationships are founded on trust and consistency and reciprocity.
That's the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris responding to the Omahine of the Ogwa traditional area when he welcomed her to the Mintimaze Palace in Cape Coast.
I too believe that we must remember history for many reasons, especially in the face of, at times, those who would attempt to deny it. And we must teach it, but teach it also with an understanding that it should teach us not only about our past, but about our destiny and our future, that we must learn from it in a way that we make the ancestors proud.
Kamala Harris was upbeat that a commonality that exists between Ghana and the U.S. will be further deepened with her visits.
All these stories must be told in a way that we take from this place the pain we all feel, the anguish that reeks from this place.
Emotionally struck Vice President of the U.S. speaking after being taken to the door of no return and being told harrowing stories about how millions of her ancestry suffered in the castle before they exited the door of no return to begin their journey of enslavement.
And we then carry the knowledge that we have gained here toward the work that we do in lifting up all people, in recognizing the struggles of all people.
And now to some politics. Deputy General Secretary of the NDC has justified the open vilification of its MPs who've participated in the approval of President Akufo-Addo's ministerial nominees. There's been widespread condemnation of the approach adopted by the party, with the camp of the presidential hopeful Dr. Kwabena Dufo being the latest to condemn the act. Fritz Baffo speaks for Dr. Dufo's campaign team.
We don't have an official position. I'm a former member of parliament. I know that some conventions exist, but I am very upset at the fact that MPs are being vilified without people interrogating as to what happened and what really happened.
Some MPs have also criticized the approach. Listen to MP for Boem Kofi Adams and Tamale Central MP Ibrahim Motala Mohammed.
So there were some of them who actually didn't capture, but they managed to show what they did, their intention to the next person following them. But maybe we should have collected everything before putting it out. There are others who actually took pictures and videos who have not even been published yet.
We need to be very, very careful. How about those who genuinely voted against this minister?
But Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bani, has justified the party's actions.
The consequence of betraying a party directive brings confusion in itself. The General Secretary is the CEO of the party. He gave that directive, and that directive was defied. It put all the 136 members of Parliament in contempt of that directive. It makes them guilty of the defiance against that directive until you prove yourself to be innocent.
And that's it for the bulletin. In our top story, head police barracks in Osu disconnected for power theft as the ECG continues its nationwide exercise to collect debts owed by customers, and also how it took the intervention of national security to free some ECG staff locked up by staff of the Ghana Post for disconnecting their power. There's more news on my Joy on